summary, line graphs are used to describe variation of information, changes. Right? Here we have many changes. Right? Changes may appear of 4 types. Increases, decreases, remain constant, or fluctuation. Right? Bar graphs compare information. Bar graphs compare information. Highest, tallest, lowest, shortest, right? Or higher than, taller than, shorter than, etc. Pie charts are used to talk about the fractions or percentages of the whole thing. Whole thing is 100 or 1. If it is 100, we go for percentages. If it is 1, we go for fractions. Fractions. Right? අන්නේ වගේ. උදාහරණයක් හැටියට ගත්තොත් එහෙම සැලරි එකකින් 60ක් වියදම් කරනවා නම් ආහාරවලට අපි කිව්වොත් එහෙම percentage එකක් හැටියට. If we spend 60% of our income on food, it is in the form of a percentage 60%. Fraction? Fraction 5/3. 5/3. Right? 5/3 and 60%, both are the same. Right? Fractions or percentages. එහෙමනේ. 5/3යි කිව්වත් 160යි කිව්වත් එකම ගාන. 5/3යි කිව්වේ සම්පූර්ණ එකක් හැටියට ගණන් අරන් 160ක් කිව්වේ 100ක් හැටියට ගණන්. Right? We can look at pie charts in different angles. Maybe 100 or 1. I think you understood what I told you. Right. Then when describing a line graph or bar graph, these are the steps to describe a line graph or bar graph. There are some common things. Step number 1 and 2, common. Whether it is line graph or bar graph, first step and second step similar. Third and fourth steps are different. Right? When describing a line graph or bar graph, first step, right? First mention what the graph shows. What is the graph about? It is given, right? The population in Sri Lanka. Dengue cases reported in the western province in Sri Lanka. Right? So you have to say, the above graph shows the dengue cases reported during the last 9 months in the western province. So you have to give the topic. What is the graph about? Right? Maybe line graph, bar graph, pie charts, or what? Then talk about 2 axes. Common. Maybe line graph, maybe bar graph. What information, what details do you find on the vertical axis and what details you find on the horizontal axis? For example, if you look at this, you can see, right? On the vertical axis, the profit is shown. Or profit is given on the vertical axis. And the year, right? The horizontal axis shows the years. Vertical axis shows the profit. That is how we say. Right? We have to mention what details, what information you find on both axes. Right? That is the next one. Now similar. Up to this point, similar. Maybe bar graph or line graph. Now the third step. If it is a line graph, describe the change. Increase, decrease, remain constant, or fluctuated. These are the 4 steps you can. For example, whether the rates or the figures increase, decrease. Right? Using simple past tense and grammar. Grammar is also useful. Right? When we talk about item 1 and 2, that is, what is the graph about, and 2 axes, you have to use the simple present tense. Simple present tense. When we talk about the described, or when we describe the changes, mostly we have to use past tense. Why? We take the details collected sources, past sources. Therefore, we have to use past. For example, when we talk about the dengue cases reported during the last 8 months, last 8 months are gone. Therefore, we have to use the simple past tense. But to talk about the topic, what the graph is about, present tense. And also to talk about two axes, present. Why? Up to this point, the present thing, what we can see on the sheet. But here, when we talk about changes, we have to use simple past tense. Right? Simple past tense. That is the kind of tense you have to use. Increased, decreased, went down, remained constant. Right? And also fluctuated. So these are the things we need to discuss here. Then we'll have a look at the other side, bar graph. What will happen if it's a bar graph? If it's a bar graph, compare the information using comparative or superlative adjectives. Right? There are different ways to make comparative and superlative adjectives. There are 3 different ways. One is by adding ER and EST to the positive. Tall, taller, tallest. Short, shorter, shortest. Hot, hotter, hottest. Right? That is one way of making comparative and superlative. The second one is adding more and most. In the case of long adjectives, we are not going to add ER or EST. Instead, we use more and most. Beautiful. Beautiful is long. Compare beautiful with tall. Tall is short. Beautiful is long. So we don't say beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Right? That is how we make comparative and superlative forms. Right? Now I mentioned about two, by adding ER or EST. Second one by adding more and most. Right? Intelligent. More intelligent, most intelligent. Capable. More capable, most capable. Right? Long. Regarding long adjectives, we have to add more and most in front. Right? In front of the adjective. Then the third way is a different form. Good, positive. Comparative, not good, best. Superlative, but better, better, best. Good, better, best. Positive, good. Comparative, better. Superlative, best. Right? Bad, worse, worst. Right? Little, less, least. Right? They are limited in number, very a few. Right? The most common way is adding ER and EST. Right? The second common way is adding more and most. Cunning, more cunning, most cunning. Right? Like that. Okay, so you have to use comparative or superlative adjectives. For example, look at this. A is higher or taller than B. A is higher than B. A is taller than B. Right? How do we differentiate between higher and taller? When to use higher, when to use tall? Both of them refer to height. Both tall and higher, or tall or high, refer to height. But when to use high, when to use tall? Do you have an idea about that? We can't use one for the other. We can't interchange. When to use tall, when to use high. What is your idea about that? No idea? Okay, if I say, right, my friend is taller or higher than I?
Taller.
Taller. Right. Yeah. Namanukula is tall or higher than Samanala?
It's higher.
Higher. Right, higher. Why? What is the rule? What is the rule?
Living thing.
Yes, Sadhuni? I think you want to say something. Chamikara.
Living and non-living thing.
Yeah, that is the point. Right? It is a matter of living or non-living. For living things, we use tall. Non-living things, we use high. Right? Regarding trees, tall. Why? Trees are considered to be living beings, no? Right? So, according to science, neither we know there are some similarities between animals and plants. Right? So, therefore, this is where we make the difference. Right? Taller with living beings, higher with things. Buildings higher. Building A is higher than building B. Right. C is the tallest. Now, more than 2. Neither. Here we have only first one, 2, A and B. Now we have C also, A, B, C, 3. So we use the superlative adjective, tallest or highest. Right? Then, if there are two similar things, now first one, A and B, not the same. They are dissimilar. Right? C is the most favorable one. Now suppose D and E similar. D and E are similar in height. How do you say? D is as tall as E. What is the structure? Noun, verb, as, positive adjective, again as second noun. First noun, be verb, as, positive adjective, as second noun. My friend is as tall as I. Both of them are of the same height. Right? You are as clever as I. Both of them are equally clever. Right? These are some useful expressions we need to use when describing bar graphs. Bar graphs. Right? You compare. Remember, these things are needed, especially in academic writing as well. Right. So that is the basic theory we need to discuss. Do you have any question to ask? The introductory part is over. If you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we can move on to line graphs. You can take line graphs and discuss in detail with the vocabulary and everything. Right. I think this is clear to everyone. Yeah, for no problem. Yes.
I have a question about bar graph.
Yeah.
How can I describe bars are located in vertical sides?
On the other side, vertical side.
Yeah.
Bar begins at the vertical axis.
Yes.
This way, same. The only thing is, right, we have changed two axes. Now, we can also change this to vertical side. Only thing is categories on the vertical axis. These figures are on the horizontal. In the same way.
Okay, sir.
Only thing is we need to change the two axes. Isn't that so? Now here we can say on the vertical axis, the figures are there. On the horizontal axis, categories. Now we change. No problem. Right. Anyway, good question. Right. We will discuss different types of graphs, right? Bars begins at the vertical axis and horizontal axis both. Okay, then we will move on to line graphs. We will start with line graph because it is the most complicated one. complicated, right? And bar graphs are difficult, right? This is complicated, this is difficult. Therefore, we will start with line graph, though complicated. Complicated in the sense we have a lot of vocabulary items, right? We have a lot of shapes and everything, right? We will have a look at second document. This is the second document, right? I would like to start at this point with this one, right? This is the one with the description. Right, this is a line graph. Right, now if you look at this line, what comes to your mind? At a glance, you look at this from the distance, right? It looks like what? What does it look like?
Unemployed rate is
That is the actual thing. I mean the appearance of the line. What does it look like? Appearance?
Mountain.
Your answer is halfly correct, Chamikara. Halfly correct. Not mountain. Mountain, you have to add something.
Range.
Sorry?
Mountain range.
Mountain range. Mountain range. Right? This looks like a mountain range. Mountain range means lot of mountains appear together. Right? Here you can see one mountain. Here also you can see one mountain. One mountain. Right? Mostly these line graphs look like a mountain